7.5, as that will come up here as the rest of the evening unfolds. Meantime, the second section of the men's 5,000. And should be a great mashup of some of the top distance talent in the conference. You get a look at the start list. We'll cycle through. It's going to be a very deep and long list for you, but if you talk about distance running, you talk about Wisconsin, you talk about Oregon, you talk about Washington, and there's a lot of those logos smattered amongst the screen here. And the group includes Bob Liking of Wisconsin, certainly one of the favorites in this race. The senior, the four-time Big Ten cross-country champion, will be racing here wearing hip number 20. Late scratch from the field. Brian DeCola of Penn State was scheduled to run, but he now is listed in our start list as a DNS. But there will be a lot of traffic in the early going here as they'll settle in for these 25 laps of the track to crown a champion in the Big Ten men's 5,000. Again, 13:37.84, Morgan McDonald's meet record set back in 2019. And final instructions here from the official. A little eagerness shown by a couple of the athletes wanting to get to the line right away. You're fighting for position here. With 14 guys there on that line. And there's a whole nother group of them in front of them as they'll send them out two different channels and then bring them together about 150 meters in. And there's a recall gun right away, maybe some activity happening adjacent to the start line that confused a couple of the runners. And so starter reloads. And the runners prepare again, trying to, again, find as much space in that 6-lane track as they can. We'll keep an eye on, not unprecedented, if we see a fall in the first 30 meters, that they'll get recalled again. So the first wave out there, the second wave a little bit easier, less traffic out at the front of the pack. As Connor Burns takes a look over the Oregon Duck, you could be certain that in these types of races for those top distance programs, just like we saw last race with the UCLA Bruin getting paced by his teammate, could see some of these guys being sacrificial for the fortunes of some of their other athletes. And you know, the likes of Andy Powell at Washington, Jerry Schumacher, the coach at Oregon, a lot of strategery, as Will Ferrell will call it, of how this race might unfold. Burns officially the leader at 200 meters, but we'll now keep an eye on this group as they begin to click off these early laps in the men's 5,000 meter final. Michael Wilson, and now moving ahead of him. First time we've seen some of the Washington guys near the front. As Tyrone Gorsey going to get himself out on an early swift pace. Jamar Distel of Washington, the sophomore, right behind him. And already look at single file line here in the men's 5,000 meter final. Connor Burns out there in lane 2, back in 4th position, but Gorsey is going to set the pace here with 22 laps to run. Significantly faster laps here in the early going than what we saw in that first heat, which is to be expected. These are seeded finals. Wilson's last lap, 33:58. Distel and Burns 600 meters. As Gorsey 136.56 at 600. Gorsey, Distel, Burns, and then Wilson. So first kilometer as they come through, and our timing results here kind of chasing and catching up with so many athletes trying to get their marks through here in the early going. We'll get a K time for you here shortly, but Gorsey's still the leader here with Distel. And a swift start to this 5,000 meter final. 19 laps remain on the track. .242.11 was the official K time for Gorsey, as we are well past that K mark now with 18 laps to go. Really no change in the order. With Gorsey clicking off laps of about 33 seconds here. See Bob Liking in the Wisconsin Badgers kit behind Burns in fourth. Acer Iverson of Washington, as the Huskies figuring prominently here in the front part of the pack, as would be expected. Trying to use these distance races to really pile up the points with a potential to try to take home a Big Ten indoor champion in their first appearance at the indoor championship meet. Left to see is whether Gorsey is doing this pace on purpose to try to drive some of the fight out of the rest of the field and allow some of his teammates to be in a position to rack up the points, or whether he is out to win his own individual Big Ten indoor championship. Standout high schooler out of the state of Oregon, went up north to compete under the tutelage of Andy Powell, and a lot was expected of him transitioning to college. This is the kind of race that could make a statement for him as he continues to lead the freshman from Washington. You look back at the rest of the field, you're starting to see a little bit of action out of the back, with some folks not really finding this pace to be all that friendly. And Gorsey doesn't care at all. He's still driving this thing through and has the lead as they have 14 laps to go. Gorsey, Distel, Burns, Liking, Iverson. Saw a brief glimpse of Johnny Livingstone, the Wisconsin sophomore, moving up on the outside in 2, trying to move up into about the top 10. You see him out there again in lane 2. Michael Wilson out there as well. He just gets passed by his teammate Livingstone. Nearing 8 minutes elapsed in this race for a 5,000-meter title here at the Big Ten Indoor Championships. So a bit of change now as Bob Liking has moved to the lead and is trying to take control of this race, changing the complexion of this race pretty quickly on the track as we near and now past 9 minutes on the clock. So big change here with 9 laps to go. And Liking trying to challenge. And Abdel Agil of Oregon, the junior, is right there in tow with him. Connor Burns trying to move up here on the outside to get the Ducks into second and third position. 8 laps to go. Seven laps to go, 10 minutes elapsed on the clock. Liking, Lagel, and Burns. And then Christian Duval of Wisconsin back in fourth position. Iverson behind him. So now 3 here in front. Liking looking very comfortable here. As we get into the latter stages of this 5,000-meter final at the Big Ten Indoor Championships. Bob Liking, the senior from Wisconsin, 1 kilometer to go. Once he took over the lead, certainly increased the pace of this race significantly. Laps under 32 seconds through 3,400 meters. We're well into the last kilometer now, and Liking beginning to turn the screws a little bit. Lagel is trying to stay with him, and Burns is as well. Burns may need to make a move here because Lagel is not going to hold Liking, and he does make that move. Liking in full stride here now as he takes the lead, but Connor Burns is not going to let him get away just yet. Liking and Burns 31.89 on that last lap, just under. And that was through 9:57, which was 3,600 meters. So that split from a few laps ago. It's even faster now. Liking looks like he's sprinting harder than Burns is, and Burns just kind of laying in wait here as he will try to time something. As Burns going to battle here against Liking, 2 laps to go. Connor Burns, the sophomore for the Ducks, and Liking, the senior from Wisconsin. Lap and a half to go. Liking looking down, goes to the arms. Burns still there. Weaving through some traffic now. Burns, is he going to challenge early? Burns does, and he's going to use a little bit of a shield here as Liking has to wait and now has to get around. And now Connor Burns in full flight. Down the backstretch for the final time, the sophomore from Oregon. The Ducks' first ever appearance in the Big Ten Indoor Championship. A big look around, a second look around, and now a celebration to come. Connor Burns, who guessed it, the 5,000-meter champion here at the Big Ten Indoor Championships. 13:10:39 as he breaks the meet record by 27 seconds. Well, just a incredible last lap or two for Connor Burns, 13:10:39. In a year where we've seen so many dramatic performances at 5,000 meters, that Connor Burns mark now 13:10:39 is going to be number 10 all-time collegiate indoor, as he now puts himself, that should be a new Oregon school record, as Connor Burns is the 2025 Big Ten Indoor Champion as he takes the victory. And after the race, he now checks in with Serenity Douglas at the finish line.